Be honest, I have to be honest, because I promise I'll be honest.
He used to be so racist, but he was black himself. I don't understand that.
But yeah, that's how I got into 3 medical schools out of 4.
I'm gonna be so rude, but it's cool.
Scriptures regarding anger. Hey, I actually am not cool enough to... I don't know why I try to change things up, because whenever I do, I just embarrass myself. But anyway, hi, my name is Natasha. Welcome to Natasha's Narrative. So like I said, I'm making a video back to back. So I'm making a video kind of based off what I was just talking about. So as I told you guys, went to secondary school, mainly Caucasian, and I was kind of explaining at the beginning of my video how a lot of comments, it's not that I ignored. Actually, I would say, yeah, I did start ignoring them. I really did, because I was just tired. Like, it was madness from teachers, it was madness from students, it was madness everywhere. So you get to a point where you're just kind of like, where do I go from here? Like, if my head of year cannot be bothered to pronounce my surname properly, even though I've told them multiple times, and you're laughing about it now, like, who am I actually going to go to? I'm just going to be called sensitive, over the top. It's going to become a talking subject. So I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just either going to ignore you or I'm going to laugh, like, because it was just so crazy. So I don't want to spend too much time just dwelling on the things that were said to me, or actions, because I don't want this to be like overly triggering, and it's not about people who potentially went to my school watching this and thinking it's about them. It's about me just kind of expressing what it was like, you know, during the late 2000s to mid 2010s, being in a mostly Caucasian school, and how I would deal with it now. Because I think, to be honest, if I was to go back in time, like, maybe I would have stood up for myself a bit more, but it was so difficult because we grew up during a time where these microaggressions were just like, oh, it's something to laugh at, it's a joke. Like, it's a very different movement now, so I can't even lie and say to you that I would have, you know, done this and that and the other, because I don't think I would have had the support. There weren't really a lot of teachers of colour in our school, so I don't think I would have done anything that different, if I'm being perfectly honest. So anyway, let's jump into it. So my first memory actually of deeping the ignorance or the racism, whatever you want to call it, was in year 7, and like going to line up for the school canteen, and like a dinner lady like calling me by a different girl's name. There were 3 monoracial black girls, so she got me confused with one of them, but I was like, I remember just thinking, this is mad. And she tried to even tell me that we looked alike. And that was when I was like, no, these people are actually the craze. Because first of all, I've always been tall. This girl was not tall. Second of all, I have a dark complexion. This girl was really not very dark. And we had different hairstyles. Everything was so different. And I was just like, wow, like, that's, I think, was the first time I remember just kind of thinking, these people don't really see me as an individual. Like, I'm just like some black girl to them, or we all represent, in fact, the one black girl in this whole entire school. So I was like, this is a bit wild. It's actually funny that it was actually when I got into year 10 and year 11, so as I got older, that the comments just got more and more and just progressively worse. So it would be stuff like, in your African language, do you like click? Like, I don't want to do it because I don't even want to just add to the disrespect, but yeah, basically, like, do you click? And I remember like them doing it, yes, after saying that, and I think one time I was just like, no, but another time I think I just laughed, because I was just like, these people are actually ridiculous. Like, what do they think Africa is? Like, I really don't understand, like, how you think that this is acceptable to do. Like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, no, these people are mad. It was trying to do the fake African accents also for me. I also thought this is crazy. I can't lie here and say like, oh, you know what, like I was really fighting the good fight, because I was not. And I think most of the reasons being that I didn't really talk about race that much at home, apart from the normal, you have to be 4 times better than a white person in order to, you know, succeed in your career and stuff like that. But in terms of like dealing with friendships and things like that, we didn't discuss that. And I think having parents who, you know, didn't grow up here, didn't go to school here, may be an added layer as to why it wasn't really a discussion, because they weren't dealing with racism back home, obviously not. So that was another thing. That I was just like, these people are crazy. I remember being I remember when I became best friends with I'm still really good friends with her. When I became best friends with this girl in year 10, one of her close friends that I eventually also became friends with, I must have been mad because I knew the stuff that he was saying about me. So it really was desperation to have friendships, guys. Like, it was really desperation to have friendships. That's all I can say. So he basically, we were in the same form together, but I never sat with him. But he would tell her that I was a chav, which is very interesting, because I don't know how someone can say that I'm a chav when they've never actually spent time with me. And I can only go off the fact that it was definitely because I was black. And then as I became more into that friendship group and we became closer, he realised that I was actually good vibes. And I just remember like him asking me if in Africa, like, I stay in a mud hut. And like, that's why I remembered from my shirt, because he was like, I hope that you get Wi-Fi for your mud hut. And I was just like, I don't understand. And it takes me a lot to shout, unless I'm like telling my siblings off and they've just like, the earwax is not being removed from their ears and they clearly want my voice to escalate. But I don't typically shout. Even if I'm in an argument, I don't typically shout. So it's either I was being a character that I'm not, so I can fit into the box that they wanted me to fit in, or I kind of keep quiet. And I just remember saying, kind of being like, no, obviously we don't do that, or just being really sarcastic and being like, yeah, we climb trees too, because I was just like, these people are obviously mad, like this is obviously a madness. So I remember as well, like there was one time where I can't remember what the girl done said, but she was one of my close friends at the time, but we'd argued. And normally I think when people say ignorant stuff, I'll kind of like deal with it, or like I said, I'll either ignore it, or maybe I might mention something. But the girl had done ticked me off that time, and I decided to tell one of my black friends what she had. Actually, I told one of my good friends at the time, and she was mixed race, and she was like, no, you have to tell this other girl as well. So I told her, okay, I clearly did want a little bit of like drama to pop off. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I was innocent, because I knew that this black girl did not like my other friend. So she threatened, we're in games, which is like PE first, and then she threatened to beat her up. And that was, I just remember the girl looking at me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so awkward for me. That was the last time I ever reported an incident like that, because I was like, I'm actually not going to get in trouble for these people. You know, the people who are actually saying the racial terms, we're the ones that are now going to get into ish. So I was like, I am never reporting this again to one of my black brothers and sisters in the school, because I do not want beef. But yeah, just stuff like that. And even parties were the maddest ones. Okay, so I have to be honest, because I didn't know any better, I'm not gonna lie. When you grow up with like people who are non-black using the N-word in music, I really thought that it was actually okay for people who are non-black to use that word if they were friends with you, because that's what I had seen in media representation. So I kind of allowed that one, which I think by the time I entered year 12, I knew that it just was not acceptable. But anyway, I thought that this was a term that, you know, if it was being used in an endearing term, endearing, then it was okay to use it. This was a term that I thought was okay to use. So I remember going to parties, and obviously N-word in Paris had come out when I was about in, can't remember, I want to say year 10. And I remember people singing this song, and even though I thought it was okay, like I remember something in my spirit was just saying there's something wrong here. I think it was the discernment, the spirit of discernment that was telling me there's something wrong here. This is not right. And like even like you go to the parties, and it was like I became a monkey in their circus act. Teach me how to dance for us, Tasha. Teach me how to twerk. Like people are gonna mock it and they're not going to believe me, but I'm telling you, I am very uncoordinated, and I used to be more uncoordinated. So, and when I was in school, I was not a good dancer. I am so sorry. No one can lie to me and my memories, because I have seen videos from these, the African hall parties that we have been missing during lockdown. I have seen videos, and I'm terrified. Hey guys, as you can probably tell, basically what happened was my camera cut, and I had to go and charge my camera, and also I had to go in for an occupational health appointment at uni, and I had dinner plans. So I was like, you know what, let me just finish off this video because I'm on a roll. So that's why I have different clothes on right now. So anyway, it is what it is. I ate so well. Anyway, so I literally, as I was saying, like, couldn't dance, blah, 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 and people would be like, oh yeah, like, teach you how to twerk. Like, I do not think I knew how to twerk. I do not think that I knew how to do this Beyonce, oh dance, like, and, was this, like, to be honest, to top it all off, and I can only say, yeah, no, it smells like racism to me. It smells like ignorance to me. Like, I remember the very few times that I would, like, try and do the most. I remember, like, certain individuals actually slapping my bum. And at the beginning, I was thinking, is this the underage drinking? But if I actually deep it, like, this was not happening to any of my white friends that I was partying with. So it was just madness. Like, it really was madness. I was just like a toy. I was a token black friend. And it was just really, really unacceptable, everything that was happening. There are more stories, and if you want to hear them all, I can definitely share them. But like I said, this isn't a case of I'm gonna out everybody here, blah 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 blah. That's not the point of this video. It's just to share my experience of, like, being a black girl in these white ends. And I think I think what I would honestly say to, like, people who are in a similar situation, like, if you have a teacher, especially a teacher of color that you're close with or have a good relationship with, because I definitely did have some, I would definitely, report it to them, because it's nice to not feel alone. I literally just gave up on certain situations because I felt like certain teachers, as well as, like, certain students, did not have my back. And I was like, what is the point? Like, I'm not going to come here and, talk about what I'm experiencing just to be laughed at, or a lot of these things. I feel like gaslighting is such a huge thing. I even need to make a video about gaslighting, but gaslighting is such a huge thing. So I feel like I honestly felt like I'm just being crazy, I'm being over the top, but at the end of the day, like, this was racism. Like, it just was not acceptable. So definitely do that. Talk to your parents. I wish I talked to my mom about it at the time, but when I was going through just my teenage years, particularly, like, early teenage years, I wasn't very open with her, but I wish I had spoken about it, because it wasn't until recently that she even knew all these mad things were happening in my school. So if you have a parent that you can talk to about talk about it, and don't feel like, reporting it, especially, like, don't feel like it's over the top, like, to feel like, oh, I want to move school or anything like that, because it really does affect you when you feel like you can't talk to your teacher about it. Your friends are either complicit or won't understand. Just so many things. Like, I just remember thinking, like my friends, even the ones I'm tightest with, will just not get it. Like there's no point of even having this conversation. And don't think you're crazy or over the top for wanting to be in a school that is more diverse. I wish, obviously I do wish that I hadn't had those experiences. I do think that I learned a lot. I think whenever you go through any sort of hardship, you always do learn. I think whenever you go through any sort of hardship, you do learn things. Really, I really don't even have much else to say about it. It's still a bit shocking. But yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to share with you guys. Just like my experience, like being, one of the only black girls in a predominantly white school. How it affected me, what I would do now. Yeah, that's about it. But thank you guys for listening to this. I hope that you enjoyed it. This is Natasha's narrative, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.